Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter where you're calling from. It's great to see you in today's session. Seeing some familiar names and faces here. Well, not quite your faces, but I can see your names. So if you're new here, then welcome to your first feature update webinar. And for all of you regulars, welcome back. It's great to see you here in today's session. Today, we're going to be going through some of the fundamentals that have gone out into your account that is new in the Waybook world over the last month. So anything that's hit your account at the tail end of July into August, and give you a bit of a sense in terms of how to use that, how to get everything back to get everything up to speed, and of course what's coming next as well. So the way we like to do this is keep this as engaging and engaged as possible. So please feel free to just message in the chat. Hello, and where you're calling from. I know we always have a great set of countries and cities. So I'm here in London. It's great to see you. We've also got Diego on the call, who is here from the Waybook team as well. So what we're going to be going through today is the core features that's gone out, and let's just kind of kick that off straight away. So we're going to be going over the biggest updates, which I must say we do this every month, and we always have a lot to share that's gone out into your accounts. I think this one may be the biggest one of the year so far, which I'm very excited to share. Hello to everyone. We've got people in Toronto, in New Jersey, in Germany, in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. So great to see you all. So the first thing we're going to cover is new test types. I'm very excited about this because it's been something that we've been thinking about, speaking with many of you about, designing out, developing out for quite a long time, and it really elevates your usage of Waybook. So we're going to be covering that. We also have the test submission manager. So the test submission manager and insights basically is attached to the new test types, but will basically make sure that you can unlock a lot more within your Waybook. We also have achievements and badges. Now, I know I've been teasing this one over the last couple of sessions, the last couple of months. They are live. You've probably already seen these in your account, but we're going to explore them a little bit more in terms of what they are and how they can support you and your team within Waybook. And then finally, we're going to be looking at a smaller change, but actually from many of you that use the commenting function within Waybook, this kind of really enables you to improve your management of collaboration and comments through Doc Manager. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the new test types. So this has been something that we've been really excited about for a while. And the main reason is because we know that you centralize all of your knowledge within Waybook, your SOPs, your policies, your procedures. And it's really about to just make sure that people understand it and ultimately about compliance, right? Making sure that people know what is necessary to do their jobs the best and actually to drive the business forward. And the new test types really is an elevation beyond the multiple choice tests which we've had up to date, to really make sure that you can get deeper into understanding what people do know. It also really helps the documents become a lot more dynamic and a lot more engaging. And as I mentioned there, it really gives you the ability to do a lot more robust testing around the knowledge, for your confidence in your team's knowledge as well. So this has a few different test types, and a key piece in this is that you're now able to have longer responses, including text responses, and also file uploads. So we've already seen, since this has very recently been rolled out, that people are really optimizing the tests around the documents and actually enabling a lot more with regards to the onboarding of your team members as well. So what is it? It's a bit of a self-explanatory one. It is basically new multiple test types, and we can see them on the left-hand side, but just to run through them, you've now got the option, as well as the multiple choice, which we've always had, to have drop-down tests, to have reordering, answer ordering, sequence ordering, fill in the blank. We've got options to have you to match answers to different questions or different pieces of information, text entry, both short and long, and also file upload. Now, with that, we are also introducing graded answers. So currently, up until now, obviously with multiple choice, we know whether or not someone got it right or wrong. So we can actually pass them through to the next step. But there'll be some things, perhaps like the file upload or text entry, that you may actually want to grade before they pass that document. So we can do that now within Waybook. And of course, if any of you know me, you'll know that we're not going to be putting out something that requires you to do more work. All of this can be easily created with AI. So you can turn that information into knowledge, into really robust training material very easily. So this is accessible to all accounts, and you can actually access that via the add test step within a document. So in order to show you that, let's run through a document and actually create a test together with a few of these different test types. So here I am on a Waybook Dash. I'm going to jump into a document. So I'll go into the edit mode, and I've got an expenses policy here. So, of course, you know how to kind of create the knowledge within your Waybook, and this is the button to hit if you want to add in a standard blank step. But if you want to add in something slightly different, including a test, you click this up arrow here, and we can create a new test step. So as with the design of Waybook, the knowledge review sits alongside the knowledge. So we know that by the time everybody has completed one document, they've not just seen it, they've understood it, they've complied with it, and they've got to the level of understanding that's necessary. So if you click on the new test step there, you do have the option of creating a test manually or via AI. So firstly, I'll start with manually, and we'll see that test step is created, and we can just add in the new type of question. So here are the 8 options, which I mentioned there before, but I will actually just generate with AI so we can see both of those. So we now have the option for you to choose the number of questions you want. But if you deleted this, if you deleted that, then what Waybook will do is the Waybook AI will decide how many questions it can create to really cover all of the knowledge with all of the important knowledge within the document. You can now also select the difficulty of questions. So if it's something that's almost a bit social, engaging, a bit of a pop quiz as you go through, we can make that easy. Or if it's something quite strict for compliance, we can make it hard, but let's just go with medium for now. So now Waybook is reading the document, prioritizing the most important things to test your team on, and then automatically creating those multiple choice questions for you. Sorry, not multiple choice, just lots of different question types. So here we've got a multiple choice question, we've got a fill in the blank question, we've got matching answers and ordering, and a short text. I will add some of the others in there as well. Now, another thing which has come with this release before we dive into the question types is if you generate with AI, what you can actually do is you can now add new questions onto it. So it will take a look at what questions you have, try and find new things to test the team on, and then add those questions rather than, well, actually, that just wasn't possible at all. So the multiple choice question you would have seen before, this is basically the core question. And we like to give 4 answers, so the AI will always give 4 optional answers. You'll notice here that these are they're not stupid questions and with silly answers. So quite often with multiple choice, you can say, what's the purpose of this SOP to file expenses, banana, apple, carrot? Like these are actually good questions that will make people think. And of course, as you scale the difficulty, it will increase. Now, with these, you can, of course, add images to them if you wanted, but there's not been much change with the multiple choice. Now, fill in the blank is a really great test type. What we essentially do here is you have a statement. So this statement, you can put in anything. You can put in your company values, any kind of fact or piece of information. And what you can then choose is say, well, actually, what do we want to test people on that? So let's say we want to remove or create the blank on approved. We'll do that there. But as the AI has demonstrated, the most important one here is non-claimable. So that will be the blank that somebody needs to fill in. And of course, we'll look at this on the other side. Now, because people will be free texting this and we want this to be automatically graded, you can actually allow for misspellings. So if you allow for misspellings, we'll do non-claimable, perhaps there is a misspelling. We can also just say not claimable. So you might want to just have a couple of variations or misspellings that exist. Now, the other thing you can do with fill in the blank is you can give suggested options. Now, if it's a suggested option, we can say claimable and non-claimable. And what will happen there is in the blank, they'll be able to select from some of the options you give. So you've turned that test type essentially into a drop down or a multiple choice. Of course, with that, you don't need to allow misspelling, so that will collapse that down, but we'll leave that for now. So we'll see this, what it looks like on the other side. We then have matching answers. So we can basically put in any matching pairs. So question and answers, products that go together, things that don't match, whatever that may be. So we're going to just have two pairs within this, one thing that's claimable, one thing that's not claimable. And we'll see what that looks like on the other side. Of course, you can add images into that as well. Then the next one here is option ordering. So the option ordering will basically give pick a sequence, pick something that runs together, and then they will drag and drop those into order. Now, in order to make it easy for me to actually answer this, because I don't actually know this SOP, I'm just going to put in some numbers. Definitely don't put those numbers in your example, because then you're literally giving away the answers. And then the other thing that we've got here, which the AI has created, is essentially a short text answer. So this short text answer is actually asking people a question. It is an empty text form. So here, what's the daily meal allowance? 25. And then you can allow for those misspellings. Now, the other thing that you can do with these text answers is you can allow any answer to go through as correct. So if you're just looking to extract information, you can put that in there. It will automatically pass that test, and then obviously you'll be able to see that on the submissions. But we'll keep that for that now. Now, the things that we are missing is a file upload. So the file upload will basically give somebody the ability to put any image, any file, any PDF, any document in. So if you're asking for a completed form or a receipt or anything like that, you can do that within there. And then the other thing that I don't believe was in there was the long text. So a long text answer will say, explain why expenses are important. That's a very bad question. Don't do that. And with this is manually graded. So it won't automatically pass, but you as the document owner will get the notification to say that you've got a submission that you can go in and you can grade whether that person has got it right or wrong. So this is where if people are giving essay answers or scenarios or scripts for particular customer interactions, you can put that in there. But again, if you're looking to just data capture that, then you can mark any as correct, which will ultimately mean that people will answer that. So this is some of our test types in there. There are a couple of others, but just in the interest of time, I'm going to publish this document, and then we're going to go into the reader side of this, and we're just going to click through the document like we would. This was one that was just generated from a transcript, so I've not edited this document yet. Let's look at them as a reader would see them. So we come to here, and we've got the multiple choice question, which you're familiar with. We've got non-claimable. We've got the matching answers. So travel to client meetings is non-claimable. This is claimable. You can, of course, kind of overlap these, do different things. So it's actually really nice to use this for you and also for your teams. Now the drag and drop. So imagine if you've got a process or a procedure that you want people to put in the right order, you can basically drag and drop these. And I'm glad I did put those numbers in, because I definitely wouldn't remember that. And now we can basically answer this. So we've got £25. And then this is the manually graded thing. So lots of interesting information. So now I'm going to submit this, and once I submit that, oh, okay, it turns out I've actually got it wrong, which is not great, but it does mean that I can actually show you how people would retest. So I've got this wrong. It showed me what I've got right and what I've got wrong, and I can reset that and give that answer, give another go at that. So non-claimable, claimable. Bear with me. This wasn't part of my plan, believe it or not. 25, and then information. Okay, I've actually got it wrong again. So I'm not very good at this. Not very good at this, clearly. So I'm gonna do it one more time. Thank you for bearing with me, because non-claimable. This is the benefit of non-claimable, claimable. This is the benefit of a live demonstration, of course. At least you know that these aren't pre-recorded. Information. Okay. Haha. So I have now passed. However, because there is a manually graded document within here, you'll see that this is awaiting manual grading, and I won't get that click within there, but we will see that it is actually submitted. So, ladies and gentlemen, they are your different test types. Before we go into the grading side, let's just actually have a look at what that submission manager actually is. So the submission manager is essentially the ability for us to identify knowledge gaps and misunderstanding. Before, you would just see if somebody has passed or not passed a test. You wouldn't necessarily know how many times they completed it or what questions that they got wrong. So what we've actually enabled is not just the grading, but being able to see where people are going wrong with the information. So perhaps you can clarify on that in your document, or of course, that creates an opportunity for you to add additional training. Now, this enables you to look at the submissions on a document, but we also have a submissions view across all documents, so you can manage your workflow as a manager by filtering and looking at all of them. So essentially, you can access this again in all accounts. It's available in all accounts, and it's on both the document progress and the document manage view. So let's just jump back into that document. Now, if I go into the edit mode of this document, we can then look at the progress and we head to submissions. And here we can see that I have submitted and failed this test twice, and now we've got one that is pending. Now, if we go to pending, it will automatically take me to the document that I need to grade as the document owner, which I can then mark as incorrect, in which case it will notify that reader and say they have to try again, or correct, and that will pass the document and put it through. If we look at a previous submission, we can see exactly where I've gone wrong and exactly what I'm not doing properly. So that is the cue for you to actually understand where there is uncertainty within the knowledge. So this is one way of looking at your document submissions, specifically on that document. The other way is actually in your alerts, we can say that this document is available for grading. So if I go to here, we can see that I'm the document owner of that SOP. I'll get the notification and it will take me directly through to what needs to be graded. So as those grades come in, you'll get notified and you can kind of do the grading as you want it. Now, the other way to look at that is in the submissions manager. So instead of just looking at the submissions on this one document, if we go to the submissions manager, this will show us all of those submissions across all of the people and all of the documents that we can see. So firstly, I can see everything that's gone, and this doesn't just include the tests. This will actually also include the knowledge confirmation. So the knowledge confirmation is people are confirming, accepting, agreeing. You've got the dated, the timed, and what they've entered to make sure they're entering their names correctly, which is necessary in order to pass. And then you've also got quick views to allow your workflow to adjust to this. So I can actually filter just for those pending submissions, or if there's lots of pending submissions, I can look at documents that are like owned by me, or documents that I've submitted myself. And then the final way to look at that is submissions by a member. So say if we're looking at Diego's responses, for example, we can click on that individual user and we can see all of the responses that user has had. Now let's actually grade that. So we go into here, we mark that as correct, and we submit that grade. That will then mean if I go back to that document as a reader, that will actually then complete that document and get me up to that 100%, which we need to see as well. Okay, so that is the fundamentals of our new testing features. If anyone's got any thoughts or questions, then please do let me know now. But if I don't see anything in the chat, then I am going to skip on to the next thing. Okay, so heading back into this information here, the third thing that we're really excited to be announcing and launching to you all today is our achievements and badges. So this is something that we've worked and spoken with many of you on. The key reason why we wanted to focus on this is really to boost your team engagement and adoption across the businesses, and also making sure that your team are getting more of that satisfaction that we feel when we complete a document and we do great work within Waybook. It's also a really great alternative view of your team's activity. So once you've kind of got a sense of what achievements are most important, you can actually see who has those achievements. Now, what they actually are achievement badges across all of your Waybook activity. And that includes badges for editors and creators, for readers and people completing, people searching, people utilizing your knowledge in the way you want them to. And then also for creators, specific feature badges that's relevant. So if you're not sure actually what else you can be doing to unlock your Waybook, you can actually have a look at your feature badges and say, okay, well, what else should I be doing? What else is useful for me to have? Now, this is rolled out and available in all accounts. It's viewable on your dashboard, but also you can see a full view of your badges on your profile page, and managers and admins can also see the badges of other team members as well. So let's head back into that Waybook document or that Waybook. We can see here that we've got our achievements widget on the dashboard. So if I click on this, 5 days ago, I was awarded the Step Superstar, which is basically completing 100 steps. I can now see in order of achieving them all of the things that I've got. So I've been using the AI writer a lot, and we can see actually what constitutes the badge within there. I'm using the step splitter. I've got a search streak. So actually I've searched on Waybook every week for 52 weeks, which gives you a bit of an insight into how I spend my time. And of course, these badges are actually going back on your activity as well. So if you're already deep into your Waybook, then you'll already have many badges. You'll see here that I've got 65 out of 104. And as you might know, I've used Waybook quite a lot. So the other way that you can look here is you can actually look at what ones are in progress. So if you are keen to collect the badges, we can see which ones are, next up and where they're coming. And we've seen already that team members are getting quite engaged with this to make sure that they're actually utilizing your knowledge within Waybook in a really valuable way. And we can also actually look at the ones that are not started. So these are essentially the new features, the different elements that you might want to unlock. So actually, we've not used the importer, for example, or we've not actually created a learning path since this has been live. So there's some of your key pieces. Now, if we go back to the members tab, you can actually look in any other member. So obviously, I'm an admin on this account. I can click at Angela, and we can see what Angela has and hasn't achieved, where she is, how many people, how many steps she's unlocked. Of course, this doesn't replace reports and the analytics you get there. Reports is always going to be the best snapshot across an individual, the team, or the knowledge. But this is a really great way to get a more holistic sense of how engaged somebody is within the platform. Kiana, you've asked a very good question there. Can you make custom badges? Currently, no. But as soon as I mentioned that we were working on this, and in a lot of the conversations, that's the first thing that comes to people's minds. So this is something that we're going to be working on very soon. We're actually looking at creating custom badges, which will link up with completing various types of documents or different areas and different elements. If you've got any thoughts or questions on what sort of badges you would like, please do drop it in the chat. Or if you can't think of them now, please do message into to your account manager or the support team, because we really are looking at making this the best possible feature. So we're harvesting the ideas from you good people. So they are your badges. We're really excited to see a lot of people engaging with them across the board, and those custom badges are on the horizon. So please do let me know how you wish to use them. Okay, and then the final thing we're going to be covering today is how we can use Document Manager to optimize our collaboration, particularly when it comes to comments. So the reason why we wanted to focus on this was because we know that we want a lot of people collaborate on documents within Waybook. You're using the thread, the comments, you're using the tagging, the chats, the things like that. But sometimes we know that it is easy to lose the thread of the comment that you're making. So say, for example, I've asked a team member, Jane, to address a particular thing on a document. I kind of want to follow up on that, but if I don't remember it, previously you weren't quite sure what document you left what comment. So now what you're able to do is you can actually have a holistic view of all of your comment information and the comment on any documents within your Doc Manager view. So this includes your last comment date, the last comment date on a document or the last comment that you did on that document, and also the total comment count. So at a brief scan, you can get a sense of what activity is happening across your documents. This is available in all accounts and it is available to view within the Doc Manager. So let me just jump very quickly into that to give you a sense of it. Now, I'm sure many of you on the call will actually know what comments is, but just to make sure everybody's with us, anybody with edit access to a document has access to this comment and activity tab. This includes the versions, includes the published data, includes any other comments within that. So in here, we can say, hi, Diego, and tag Diego. Can you add XYZ? And as we post that comment, that will kind of go to Diego. Now, again, if you wanted to look at the comments on or activity on a particular step, you can also then toggle from all to current step. And that's where we can actually just see the conversation on this one step, which will be different to this step and this step. But at any time we can go back to all, and that's where we can see all of that activity. Also within this activity thread, you can see any of your approval processes or review processes that's happened on that document. So the idea here is in between each one of these versions, which we obviously have within our version history if you're on the Pro account, we can see all of the activity, all of the conversation, all of the requests, all of the reviews and approvals that's happened in order to get us from step 1 to step 2. Now I'm going to head into Document Manager. So again, I'm going to go into Manage. Now you can choose between document or submissions. Obviously, submissions is where we were just looking before. But let's go into Documents. I'm going to collapse this down to give a bit more space. And what we can do in this view is we can actually customize the columns to really match to what we want to see. So I'm now going to go down to comments. You'll see there's lots of enriched activity which you can do on here. So if you've not been into this view and you want to take a more holistic view of managing your documents, this is really a great view. So I'm going to add in my last comment date, the last comment date, and total number of comments. And here I'm able to now just quickly order or scan what were the last comments that I made. Or I can actually create a filter for the comments that I made on or before this date, where the members are this and whatever that may be. So we can also do that by filtering and organizing the number of comments on our documents, and of course by ordering the comment date, so the last or the most recent. I'm just going to quickly scan to the chat. Erin, you've got a question here. Document comment status from Doc Manager, currently in accounts as of now. You don't see it in yours. Okay. So you will see that in yours if you go to columns and toggle that on. I think you might have written that before, Erin. So if you go in, you can toggle on, yeah, the last comment date, your last comment date, and total comments. Amazing. Yeah, it's not a default setting. We're constantly deciding what should be on by default. And of course, there's now so much enriched activity across this. We're kind of focusing on the main use cases that people come to this page with. Now, the other thing whilst I'm just on here, just to kind of remind everybody, if you did want to perform bulk actions, so particular things like archiving documents, changing owners, let's say everybody has moved from, ownership from one team to another, you can do all of this over multiple documents, which is a really quick, holistic way of doing any of that kind of work. You would have to go into each document setting. You can actually do that holistically within Doc Manager. Amazing. Well, that brings us almost to the end of today's session. Now, we're really excited about those changes, and please do let us know as you continue to dive deeper into that. If you've got any thoughts, questions, requests, feedback, we'd love to hear it. We're always at it. We're always building on this side. So what we have coming up is improved shots. So we know that many of you are using the Waybook Shots tool, which is the best way to kind of capture your SOPs as you go forward. We have a very big and a very exciting update coming to Shots very, very soon. It's been something that we're working quite long and quite hard on this side. So watch this space. And we also have some interesting and unique ways to improve the creation and curation of your knowledge into Waybook, as well as optimizing that information or the knowledge within there to make it more engaging for your team. And of course, so much more. So That brings us to the end of today's session. I'd like to thank you all so much for joining. If anybody has any thoughts or questions, I am all ears and I've got my eyes on the chat. So now is the time to drop any thoughts or questions that you've got within there. But failing that, I'd like to thank you all so much again, and I hope you'll have an amazing day. And until I see you next time, I hope we all enjoy some smooth scaling. Have a great one and see you soon. Take care.